Hello, welcome once again to our podcast Making Money Squared. I'm Krystian Jacko, founder of Cognitech Solutions, and I'm here with Ben.
Welcome back, guys. We're here once again, Krystian and I. I'm excited for this one, Krystian. Let's get into it.
Right, so in today's episode, we're going to be covering AI and lead conversion. A field in which both of us, I would say, are pretty much experts in.
Not pretty much, definitely experts in.
Definitely experts in, yes. And this, topic, I would say, relates 100% to the title of this podcast, AI equals making money squared. Because here, AI will allow you to do two things. Save time on just either doing it manually or having employees respond to messages or doing stuff like that. Second, make more money, because AI probably are going to reply, going to send messages, call automatically and on time every single time, which means you will make more money. So saving time, making money, and by saving time you save money, so you make money squared. All right, ready for it, Ben?
I'm excited for this one. I was just writing down some notes. Before we start, we've got to define a couple of things. The topic of this podcast is converting more leads using AI, right? Which is what we both do in slightly different ways for our clients. Now, I think to really emphasize this point, we have to explain the buying stages of a customer, right? The buying pyramid as such, as you would know, Krystian. You know, to put it simply, if you take 100 leads, let's say, 3% of the market are ready to buy right now, roughly 3% in any market, any industry, any niche. 17% are problem aware and they're looking for more information. 20% are not problem aware. And then 60% are just floating around like butterflies. They don't know they even have a problem. And they're definitely not looking for a solution, right? So if we look at that as a generic or general spectrum of where leads are, especially inbound, right? We've got to think, we've got to bring the customers through the journey to buy. Because why do people buy things? To solve a problem. Well, what do they need before they buy? They need information about the solution. Well, what do they need before the information? Well, they need to be aware that they have the problem. They need to know I'm paying too much for my solar bill, right? Before they research solar panels. So, with that clearly defined, Krystian, I want to talk about converting leads from inbound, whether it's Google ads, Facebook ads, or content, because they're all going to sit in a different stage in the buying cycle. Outbound as well, because that's going to be different. And then converting them to the sale and where AI sits in that process and in those different stages of what can actually be done.
Right. So, as been explained, you've got I would say lead funnel, right? You've got, it's large at the top, small at the bottom. Get 100 leads here, lose lots and lots of it, convert maybe 3. Now, so the question becomes, right? Because you've got 100 leads and you would want in a best reality convert all of them to make the most money, right? That's the goal of every single one of us. So how do you get closer and closer to that, right? Which basically how do you improve your sales cycle or sales process? To do that, right, let's say you've got someone either giving you a call or a message or an email about a certain topic or problem they have, and you would want you to fix it, right? So one of the simplest ways to improve conversion rate from going from here to here in the most effective way without losing anybody is to just respond as quick as possible. respond as quick as possible, and actually don't do it in a very automatic, robotic way where it's like, okay, we've just received your email, we'll get back to you in 1 day. Actually respond to it, actually maybe book a meeting, book a call, propose a solution, right? Make it easy for those interested leads to go to the buying stage as fast as possible. So it doesn't take much effort, because that's what mainly leads are flowing out of the funnel, right? It's because of effort.
Absolutely. Yeah, I reference this all the time. You want it to be a frictionless slide, them coming down that funnel. Frictionless. Make it easy for them to get to the next stage, because that's going to put more through the funnel. It's going to get them through quicker, and it's going to be a better experience overall. And I want to touch on what you said, Krystian. Speed to lead, or responding as quick as possible. You know, there's a lot of data out there to prove if you contact a lead within the first 5 minutes, you're going to have a almost 4 times higher chance of converting them. 400%, right? That's a big number. Forget AI, forget sales track, everything, right? If you just did that, based off the data, you'd convert 4 times as many opportunities. That's huge. That's huge, right? But as Krystian said, you don't want to do it as a robotic, the same, bland message. People want it to be personable as well. So this is where it comes in. How do you, reach out to an inbound inquiry, whether it's a social media message, a DM, a phone call from your Google My Business page, a Google Ads form, that someone searched up, I need, solar panels, whatever. How do you respond quick, consistently, and still have the personability to ensure that the lead, there's as least amount of friction as possible? Do you want to touch on that, Krystian?
Right. So how do you get those leads to buy without any friction at all, right? Possibly. As smooth as possible.
Yeah, just to move to the next step.
Well, that's pretty easy in the sense of you need to be exactly knowing what you're doing, having a defined process, right? And be acting super quick on it. So when they want to move to the next step, you accompany them along the way, and not having a wait time on your part, and then they're gonna have a wait time, and then just either they're gonna close in 3 weeks or they're not gonna close at all, and nothing happens out of it. So that's my point of view on it, is just accompany them all the time along the way and be for them 24/7 and know exactly where you're leading them.
That leads on to my first question. What do you think the biggest challenge businesses face when trying to generate a high quality lead? Because there's a difference between an inbound phone call and someone filling in a Facebook lead form. Completely different intent level. There are different stages of the buying cycle, right? What do you see the biggest challenge the businesses you speak to face when generating a high quality lead closest down at the bottom of the funnel in terms of speed to lead, etc.?
Right. I would say the biggest challenge to generate those kind of leads really comes down to reputation. I think it really comes down to having your marketing is so good that people know of you and relate your brand to quality, to a good service, to a good product, and then you get sales like that. You take, for example, brands like Nike or Adidas. You don't really think, you go there to the store and in the mood to buy, You're not considering maybe I'll buy, maybe not. Just, you already know everybody wears it, it's good quality, and it's maybe even a status symbol, right? For brands like Gucci or whatever, right? So, you just go in, buy, you don't think about it. As in less known brands, you're still considering, is it worth it? Is it good quality? You don't know.
Yeah. I find when speaking to a lot of businesses about their lead generation, man, it's the speed to lead, but it relates back to the actual sales team. Because obviously there's business hours, right? You're not going to have someone who can answer the phone to, again, a solar company at 1 in the morning, right? It's not going to happen. But also, what happens during business hours when you're busy with existing customers or existing opportunities, or maybe previous customers you have to solve problems for, or all these different maybe you're on a lunch break, all these different distractions that if you inquired at 1 p.m. and you don't get the business you inquired with doesn't get back to you until 2:30, between that 1.5 hour slot, you've already inquired with 3 other businesses because you need to solve your problem. You're aware you have the problem and you're looking for more information and you're looking for a solution. So talk to me about how AI can improve the effectiveness of this, and also keep it consistent, right? Because humans can only train them so well, right? Exactly. Consistency is really, really important here. Talk to me about that.
Well, simply put, right, one thing we mentioned both before is having a defined system and knowing exactly what you're doing every single time to have that frictionless intent to buying cycle, right? AI is perfect at that because you can tell it directly what to do every single time, right? And won't do anything outside of it. So, in terms of systems, that's exactly, well, it's a like computer system, right? It's in the name. So, it's very good at that. How it also improves lead effectiveness is speed to lead, as you said. Just replying on time, replying every single time personalized, and having the same tone, personalized tone every single time. So we don't have a salesperson which is like already managing 3-4 different people, and they see which are high intent and ready to buy, and they see one new message come in, and you just write a quick message to them, don't really think about it. AI gives attention to every single one, every single person, every single lead, every single time.
Super great point. Super great point. If, as an example, you're a salesperson and you're dealing with 20 inbound phone calls a day, on your end, yeah, you're speaking to 20 people about their problem. But on the customer's end, they're coming to you because they think you can solve their problem. They don't care about the rest of the 19 other people. They don't care if you're having a bad day. They don't care if you didn't have your lunch because it's 2 o'clock and it's busy. The personability and the empathetic tone, as you said, the tone is really critical there, because why would you want a customer to suffer their experience because you're having a bad day? And that's something that AI directly can resolve. Because again, as you said, it's a designed process. It's only going to do what you ask it to do and how you ask it to sound.
Exactly. Well, and here most people are going to probably think and say, well, I've used ChatGPT once, and it sounds pretty generic. And gives off pretty, not really good answers. So I wouldn't trust it.
Sounds like AI.
I would. Yeah, exactly. So I wouldn't trust it with my handling my sales, pretty much, which is like the most important part of a business, right?
Yeah.
Well, to that I say, well, what have you written for the prompt? If you've just written like one sentence, it's probably bad because your prompt is bad. If you make a good prompt, giving it all the context about a company, about their client, about their needs, about their pain points, everything you need, your salesmen need to know to be effective at sales, you give that to the AI. That can do a salesman's job 24/7 without breaks, without getting tired, without getting sick. There you go. So, on that, Ben, I have another question for you. So what role does then personalized outreach play and bringing the leads back through the buying cycle?
Great question. It adds to the point that I just made. People want to have a great buying experience. They want their process down the funnel to be fantastic, feel like their problems are being solved and you're the best person to do it, and for it to be frictionless, right? And to do that, and this is sort of the art of sales and the communication, because every person is different, every conversation can slightly differ. So if I was to put as an example a bland black and white response versus a empathetic, conversational, customer first focused response in just a sales team, forget about AI, the team who are trained properly are going to outperform by 100x every time. Because again, this customer has a problem and they're reaching out to you. They have high intent to get more information to see if you can help them solve their problem. And as a consumer, Krystian, if someone treats you bad and they're, maybe rude to you on the phone and they don't acknowledge the fact that, I don't know, maybe your father just died and he's giving you his house and, you want to get the solar panels replaced. Whatever the example is, right? If you feel as a customer, I'm not being, my needs aren't being met and I'm not being treated like, I'm very important, which the reality is that's what it is, you're going to go somewhere else because there's 100 other businesses you can go to, right?
Exactly.
What do you think?
I think it's exactly right what you said. Giving that personalized attention to every single customer, since we're on outreach, right? In outreach, having that personalized attention again to someone you're outreaching to, well, it gives them a different vibe, right? Because everybody nowadays is just doing copy paste send and doing crazy numbers on that just to get a couple responses here and there. Now, that is not the good way to go about it, right? Because you could just be, instead of sending 1,000 emails and getting one response, which is positive, you could be sending 1,000 emails, getting 50 responses, which are positive, but having something else within the email, namely the personalization. And what AI allows here, right, is to do that personalization automatically. So, in the same way you would just send copy-pasted emails, you would be now sending personalized emails. And there you go.
It's an interesting one because it goes back to the fundamental, right? People buy from people they know, like, and trust, right? Those 3 columns, they've got to be as high as possible. You have to like the person because people, subconsciously, they're attracted to people who are like them. You got to trust that they're the right person, business, and solution to solve your problem. And they got to trust that you can actually deliver on what you're telling them, right? Very, very key fundamentals here. And in terms of outreach, in a world of generic, bland copy-paste, the ones that stand out are personalized. Okay, great. How can we use AI to speed up that process? And as per, half of this podcast, save time. Talk to me about that, because you actually build these systems for your clients, for outreach.
Yes. Well, it simply comes down to, right, having the right info about the leads you're outreaching to, and then having a system, right, when you send out or intend to sending out an email to a person, let's say you've added them on a contact on a CRM, then creating a personalized email using AI, again with a good prompt, with all of the different context about that specific person, about what you're selling, about your company, about the different principles, about the script you're gonna use, everything A to Z that the AI should know to create a very good, very compelling email, then sending that email to the customer, right? And that email being personalized. It's simple as. And that's the thing. Most people, you don't even do that. It's pretty simple, right? Most people don't realize it's even there. So either they do manual personalization, which takes lots and lots of time, or just copy-paste emails. And you see most of the time it's just copy-paste emails.
So basically, you can do the research, you can do the personalization and the actual designing of the messaging and the segmentation all automatically, as long as you have the correct prompting and instructions. And this is the time saver, right? Because, I mean, let's look at it on two metrics here. You send 1,000 outreach messages with no personalization, right? Versus one with personalization. Instead of getting 10 replies, you might get 50. Let's just assume five times, right? That's 5 times more leads through the funnel. But then let's look at it on the other spectrum. We'll take the 1,000 leads personalized, and to personalize 1,000 messages, research, design, formatting, segmentation, that might take you 3 days. Okay? Where compare that to AI and having the right systems, it could take you less than 3 hours to have 1,000 personalized, well-researched, well-written, in the company tone, directly targeting the prospect's problems and needs for 1,000 leads. And all you have to do is press send. And you get your 50 replies. That's a game changer.
It is. It truly is. Now, our question, Ben. Tell me how to use AI then to passively nurture and convert without human interaction. So instead of the outreach part, let's go a bit down on the sales funnel.
What do you say?
I think we first have to define where a human should intervene and where they actually don't need to, right? And if we take it from we've done the outreach or a lead's come in, from my experience, because I've built these systems for clients with real life leads, right? The initial stages of the educating, the qualifying, and the appointment setting can all be done with AI. Can all be done to nurture and convert those leads into appointments with real people, with salespeople, right? You know, gone are the days of someone filling in a form and you having to call them 3 times because they don't answer the phone. Maybe it's 7 times, and you know, and then they get back to you and say they're busy, and then you have to ask them, hey, you know, how long have you been looking at solar for, and you know, what's your budget, and how big's your roof, and all these qualification questions to determine if you can actually solve their problem, and then book them in for a quote because you know you can help. You haven't even given them the price yet. Like they don't even know if they're going to say yes, right? So that manual labor, again, that leverage you now have with AI, because again, you don't need a human to do that initial stage of qualifying, educating, and booking appointments with a person. It doesn't have to be done by a person anymore, by an appointment setter, right?
Exactly. Most of as we were on the lead pyramid before, most of the what's in the middle and even top can be automated now.
Yeah.
Only the bottom of actually closing, actually getting the money in, actually getting the credit card must be done by humans, because nobody really trusts a robot on a call with giving them a credit card, right? And Now also, right, on the nurture and convert cycle of a lead. So let's say you've got a lead, right? He has shown interest before, but kind of fallen out of the system. Now, what do? You can retarget him with ads. You retarget him with messages. You can retarget him with emails. You can even cold call him completely using AI. All of those different, well, maybe except for ads. Although ads you could do AI too, but most of those 4 channels, right? Different channels of getting to the lead. Again, you can use AI because it's instantaneous, because it's personalized every single time, and it has the exact emotions and tone you want it configured.
So it's essentially the perfectly trained salesperson who can work 24 hours a day at as much leverage as you want, can handle as many inquiries as possible, as you want it to, right?
Exactly.
That there just defines making money squared. Like, you know, you know what I mean?
Exactly.
Like that's really it. If you can replace 50 people in a sales team with one very, very well executed and prompted AI system who can do 50x the volume of those 50 people, that's leverage right there. That's huge, huge, huge leverage.
Indeed.
Now, to add to that, I want to ask you, what tools and systems or systems should businesses put in place to, go through this process, whether it's the outbound, whether it's the handling the inbound inquiries, to filter out the low intent leads, the ones who maybe they need more information, maybe they actually didn't mean to click on your ad, maybe, whatever it is. What tools or systems should businesses implement right now to make this process as frictionless as possible and get the most out of it?
Right. Well, what I think, right? Let me take a real example of a real marketing agency I spoke with a week ago, right? So they were doing outreach. On the outreach side, cold emails, personalized using AI, right? Then having a automated inbox, which when you receive an email from that cold email campaign, it directly creates a draft of an email, which you just look at it and then approve it, send it, which has the exact tone you want it as per your company, everything you need to know, right? Then, on top of that, of course, you could make a automated retargeting campaign, which also is personalized per the person. So let's say they reply, and then you don't hear from them, so send them emails again and again. And then what? Then, for example, on social media, you can put a bot which directly replies to every single email, every single inbox DM, right? And directly schedules calls. You can do all these kind of different systems in place. You can put it in place to have that just system of a lead getting at the top to the bottom as frictionless as possible.
Very well said. Very well said. Yeah, I think of examples that I know and people that I've spoken with. Let's put a hypothetical together, right? Hypothetical because I just haven't gone this far into a business or a client sales process, right? But let's say they run ads, they build an AI qualification, speed to lead, appointment setting system, which I have done, to hit the leads as soon as they opt in, qualify their interest, and then book them on for a call with a person if they're interested. All done automatically, 24 hours a day, no matter how many leads. Okay, great. Let's assume that lead speaks to that person, the sales team, and they actually aren't ready to make a purchase yet. They need more information. Okay, no worries. Well, they're automatically put onto an automated newsletter written by AI in the company's tone to educate that customer on the product or service that they provide over a 2-week campaign. Okay, great. Now over 2 weeks, they're being educated, they're given testimonials, they're given all of the information they need to make a decision. And then at the 2-week mark, we do a database reactivation. We send an SMS out, which I've done for much older leads, by the way. 7 years, actually 8 years is the oldest I've done it for. But let's just say 2 weeks for this example. And again, it's the same framework as the inbound lead. Re-engage the lead, checks in to see where they're sitting. Again, qualifies their interest, and then books them in for a chat if they're interested and if they're ready. If they're not ready, no worries. Go back to the nurture system. But if they are ready, boom. That is a frictionless way to get them basically to that bottom 20%, right? Where the human interaction is required, where maybe they need a person to explain to them the intricacies of the product or the benefits of and the problems it solved, right? Rather than an email, as an example. But there's no reason why any business can't have that, right? And I would argue, because the first thing people's going to come to mind is, but why would I do that? My customers won't want to speak to a robot. Yeah, but even if they know it's an AI, they're not going to care because it's designed to help the customer along the buying process. The AI is not selling them. The AI is not going to become some hardcore closer and try and, take a credit card over a text message or something. It's just out of the realm. It makes it frictionless and seamless and automates it, which is, again, it's where the leverage is.
Exactly. And what I wanted to also to say is the AI, right, on messages, let's say, it's not, as you said, it's not the salesman, right? It's not gonna take a call with someone, right, and directly speak with them about their needs and why they need this solution, just hardcore sell it. No, it's just designed to make it seamless. And on top of that, I would say that the person, right, for one, they wouldn't even recognize it's AI in most cases, because most people aren't that knowledgeable about AI to recognize the AI message. Second, they don't actually care, because what they actually care about is solving their problem, because they contacted you to solve a problem. And if an AI can do it, can solve their problem, they'll be fine with it.
Exactly. That's exactly right. And even, again, I know, because I've built systems like this, even if they figure out it's AI, what makes this work so unbelievably well, from my experience, is 3 traits of this sort of conversation. Conversational, so no pressure, no sales pressure at all. Very conversational. Non-confrontational. People naturally have their guard up. Buyers naturally have their guard up, so it's got to be non-confrontational, not pushy at all. And then thirdly, it's got to be empathetic. It's got to have that variability for every single different customer. Because, man, if you reach out to a lead over SMS and all you need to do is ask them, are they ready to buy solar yet? And then book them in for a call. That's a very simple conversation. But if the customer replies, I am ready, but I'm actually having to sell my house because of a deceased estate and this and that and my dog died and whatever, you train the AI to be empathetic towards that, which enhances the customer experience, which removes friction in the process, which can all be trained in an AI system.
Yes, sir. So, to conclude, well, the conclusion is very, very simple. We've said it, I think, 3 or 4 times before. AI equals making money squared. It saves you time, makes you more money. Saves you time because you would have hired someone else to do it, and makes you more money because now your systems are way more efficient and the customer's experience is way better. So saves you time, makes you money, and makes you money, makes you money squared. There you go.
And I want to add a couple of key dot points that we've just explained in this podcast before we close up. Number one, have a extremely defined system and process. That's key. Know your customers, know your product, know your brand, everything. Number two, make everything as frictionless as possible. Whether you use AI or not, frictionless sales process is always the goal. Contact your leads as quick as possible. That one small change can 4 times the amount that you're converting. Huge. And finally, with AI, what do I say all the time? Solve one problem. Don't get overwhelmed and try and do this and that and 7 different systems. No. Start with one. The one thing that's going to make the most amount of sense for you. Then solve that. Improve it and perfect it. And then move on to the next one. And then the next one and then the next one. And across a duration of time, your entire sales process is going to be so efficient and the leverage you now have is so unbelievably high that your competitors aren't even in the same race. I think that's a good way to end it.
That's a very good way to end it.
Krystian, it's been a pleasure. Always good doing these videos. Looking forward to the next one. Again, my name's Ben Twist from Convert Leads. Krystian can sign us off.
Ben, thank you very much for this conversation. I enjoyed it a lot, and definitely the viewers at home have learned a lot through it. So, my name is Krystian from Cognitech Solutions, and now today you've learned exactly how to make more money and save more time. So, you're prepared now to go into 2025 armed with everything you need.
We'll see you on the next one.
We'll see you on the next one.